Where were we?
Don't know.
At this point in time, as the eyes of the world descend, it is not towards Erziheimel, but one of its many reflections. Its more upper plane reflection, atop Mount Celestia, the home of many, many gods. Your home, Aria, as it has become for the past 100 years. As the events of Tiamat had unfolded, having sacrificed your physical form to become anew in this place, your domain, you have garnered weary souls of those who have told their stories, the histories, and their performing arts, as well as the souls that you have come to be familiar with in their afterlife. However, one soul has never made its way back to you. The soul of your beloved. The past few days, you've been hearing the whispers of gods from descending hills and valleys and summits. However, the neighboring one has become a greater concern to maintain these realms of order and chaos. Bahamut has become incapacitated to focus on maintaining both his domain and Mechanicis. In these passing days, you had met his son, Canis. And in a few more passing days, you have heard his victory over his half-brother, Roya, the first king, and king of Lumeria. Amongst the devastation, however, concerns have risen with the arrival of the Lumerian race now re-entering the world, as well as the trembling of imbalance. Chains that were once rested, now taut. As you wander your amphitheater, hearing the messages of many of your devas, solars, as well as the ascended souls that you have used as a means to gather information. Upon your amphitheater, you see a shadow beginning to form as you turn to walk around and see that almost like after images trying to coalesce into a single form as a being manifests before you. Tall, stature of somewhere around 7.5 feet. A mantle with what looks like to be these counterweights of a clock, as well as these brown and golden robes that flow down. A lightly bearded male figure, along with a staff with what looks like to be a massive hourglass, surrounded by gold and inlay that keep it posted atop it. There he stands before you, Aria, with this look of both interest and also quandary. Hello. You must be the Songstress, I believe.
Who's asking?
I am Amsir, god of time, lord of twilight. It is good to meet you again, Aria. Or, good to meet you again for the first time.
While I would be happy to oblige in pleasantries, I must ask what brings you here.
Well, as you are aware, the after effects of the re-arrival of the first king has shaken the very core and foundations of the divine world as well as the prime material plane. As one of the endless gods, it is of my concern to approach you specifically.
And why, may I ask, am I given such an honor?
The honor is more mine. I am an individual that has continuously slipped through time. I've seen both the future, the past, and the present. You are not one with such a luxury, so therefore it would be pertinent of me to try and approach you before the Dusk Mother does.
Does Aria know who the Dusk Mother is?
It is the alternative name of Sahanin, the goddess of the moon.
Ah. Okay. So Sahanin wants something with me?
Yes, she will approach you of a more concerning matter that will involve Erzheimel as well as the position of many of the divine gods. I simply wish to approach you on a more private matter. There is something I do understand in common with the both of us. You see as he kind of just merely floats around a bit, staring out from the amphitheater. I too have fallen in love with a mortal woman, and I have also a child. I intend to protect them with my very being, and am willing to even cross the borders where I shouldn't be in order to do so.
Are you suggesting that I do the same?
I am merely here to provide a recommendation. And he looks at you with a much more heavy face, this weight. Someone will approach you in 50 years' time. I would recommend submitting to them. You will not be able to defeat them, but it will set you on a path. One that will assure what it is that you want most.
And what am I to do in the meantime? And who's to say what could happen in the next 50 years? Maybe I won't remember this conversation. Maybe I won't trust you by then.
You can trust my word, because I know how to help you. As long as you intend to try and help me. I have a family to protect as well. And I understand that your legacy is one that Braun has assured in Vale. Help me, and I will help you.
I want to protect my family too. So, very well. How can I help you?
Do not fight this man. Less of a man, more of an amalgamation of God.
I'm sorry, Aaron, the audio cut out. Could you please repeat that?
Yeah, it's alright. Do not fight this individual who approaches you. They will either defeat you by force or by submission. But once you start that path, once you walk this path, it will lead you to individuals who will help you.
Many people approach me. How will I know who this individual is?
Their intentions will be made clear. I can promise you that, as they have already done with me. Or yet to do. Time is a soup, as an old friend of mine would say.
Yes, I suppose that is correct. But I would like to know more about this person.
Most who often talk to those capable of flowing through time, as I have, often ask such questions. But I can promise you, their presence alone is telling enough.
You're quite vague for someone who wishes for my help.
I understand. It is not beyond me to believe such thing, but I can promise you the word of any divine being is no small thing. A promise between gods is often kept up by the very universe itself, rules. It's what separates us from the animals.
I suppose I will heed your advice then.
As he begins to look back, there is this feeling, this air, as it approaches your amphitheater. Do keep in mind, this conversation has never happened. According to at least the divine deities. We endless gods are not supposed to approach unless approached. But this is a much more concerning matter.
I know how to be discreet. Don't you worry.
Very well. Until such time we meet again. Time. And you see as he goes to bow, his physical being disperses in separate after images, almost as if he's spreading out across various timelines and fading away. and you see within the sky the descendant of this faint, almost dull white glow. As the form approaches another god, one familiar to you, a very elven-looking goddess. Tall, a little lithe, but beautiful nonetheless, as elves are often referred to as. You see, as the Dusk Mother, Sahani, approaches you this time. As she takes a look around, we have gotten quite used to this place, haven't we? Your domain has grown quite into a beautiful aviary.
Thank you very much. Yes, I can't complain. I can say that much. I have grown accustomed to this. It has become home. It's a pleasure to see you again.
As it is to see you again. I was hoping that I might have the honor of discussing a certain matter following the days of the Lumerian War.
Certainly.
With the re-arrival of Roya, and of course, as many of the gods have cancelled together to discuss what to do with a fraction of his soul, we have come to the conclusion of chaining him within its prison of the eastern tundra, just to keep an eye on things. However, another matter has also reignited certain concerns that the gods have had for a very long time.
Concerns such as what?
Seeing as how you are one of the newer prime deities, there has been a great deal of building trust. We're not entirely unfamiliar of who you are and what you have done. But there are those of the prime deities that still hold a level of discomfort in certain knowledge. I, however, have protested against such thoughts.
That's very kind of you. I am no stranger to skepticism.
So, I think it is time that you know what we face.
Indeed. I would like to know what you wish to tell me.
Mostly unaware to the mortal kind, there are certain secrets. Most gods are not from Urtzi-Heimel. Bahamut, Tiamat, even your father. We came to this star in search of... well, they came to this star in search of refuge. The following events would lead to the rise of the betrayal gods, and, of course, the differences of opinion as time goes on. But One of our core concerns have often been with the very thing that the prime deities have ran away from for so long. The threat this star faces, only time will tell when it arrives, is a creature that we know as Ostius. The Lumerians would refer to this being as the Dreadnought, a moon-sized creature that consumes stars for unknown purposes.
The Dreadnought? And what makes you believe that this Dreadnought is a threat? What evidence is there of this?
As you ask this question, another voice echoes out towards you, more masculine, as you turn to see this huge armored figure, that of various draconic design. Because we have ran for it since the very being, since our inception. You'd look to see Bahamut stands nearby. When we first arrived here, the creation of Roya to act as the final sword and shield to protect the star, to defeat the Dreadnought, was the plan. When he attempted to mantle the goddess of magic, and thus creating the spell plague, we had sought fit to collapse his kingdom on top of him. Little did we know that his Ragnarok project saved Lumeria, entrapping him in chronostasis on a demiplane. The re-arrival of Lumeria is now a greater concern. The very echoes of such power, such monumental energy, will beckon the Dreadnought.
Well then, what can we do to ensure that doesn't happen?
You see as Sahani and Bahamut look to each other. That is currently yet to be found out. And we have belief that we are running out of time. Unfortunately, with Roya incapacitated and incapable of reforming under certain circumstances, his madness would see fit that the star be destroyed before he ever defeats the Dreadnought. The only option that we have is to buy time. Which is why myself, Bahamut, the Raven Queen, and Arithis will act as final defenders in order to preserve the star, and thus maintaining its reflections for a short time longer.
And what of me? Why are you telling me this?
It is because a choice will be made amongst all of the gods. The divine gates will swing open, and the choice will be yours to stay or to leave.
How much time do we have?
We do not know.
What we do know is that we have the fortunates of Bahamut planning ahead. His son, Canis, as you've already met, has acquired Lumeria as its king. And as such, the technology of Lumeria is in his hands. You see as Bahamut kind of stares a little away, almost as if the slightest hint of shame.
So then, is Canis intending to fight back against the Dreadnought?
My son does not know the Dreadnought.
He does not know. Then you've left your son as a sitting duck, Bahamut?
There are rules. There are things I cannot tell him. Like there are things that you cannot tell your granddaughter.
He is your son, Bahamut.
So was Roya. When he knew, you saw what happened. He could have very well have attempted to try and snuff out all divine beings for himself. The madness, the cruelty. Canis must come to his own conclusion, his own choices.
But he cannot simply stay there and wait for an Armageddon that he doesn't know is coming.
That is why he is King of Lumeria now. In the time before its fall, a commission was put together. Of course, their actions led to them finding about the Dreadnought far too early. They were punished and marked as Umbrians. One of them had created the very device to find the Dreadnought. It still exists, and it can be used. It just needs the right mind to do so.
So then, will someone be searching for the Dreadnought with this device?
That is the hope. As for now, the Prime Deities can no longer interfere with mortal affairs until such time that the gates open again.
It's not right to allow the mortals to fend for themselves. They pray to us. They entrust us. And we're leaving them on their own.
See as Siharin turns. That is why we intend to try and make them as strong as possible. The four of us do not intend to leave this world simply lying down or to flee it. We know not any of the others, if they will. But we intend to bide that time. The answers are somewhere within the realms. However, gods like us can either only go to the prime material plane or our domain, and to cross into any other would invoke war, which is not something that we need right now. Our plan, horrible as it might sound, is the only one we have left.
So are you simply telling me to stay back and allow them to be defenseless? Those who follow me, who entrust me, my family, who are mortals.
That is a decision that you will have to make.
I appreciate you informing me of this. But I'm still unsure what either of you expect me to do.
We do not expect you to do anything that you do not wish to do. This information is yours to do with as you wish. It is only right and fair that the prime deities know of this. However, that does not mean to sit upon your laurels. Just because we do not have the answers now does not mean that you should give up on finding them. You are aware of your core duties, are you not?
I have a duty to my people, above all. That is where my duty lies.
And that of the lost age.
I am aware. I am entrusted to put together that missing history.
I recommend facing that task first.
You see as he says that and begins to leave the amphitheater, and as he goes to jump, you see as he just bounds towards his peak. Ever pragmatic, that one.
Indeed.
I'm sorry to be the bearer of such bad news.
I've never been one to shoot the messenger. I just wish that we had met under better circumstances.
I agree. There is a place, though. I cannot bring you to it, but perhaps it might be one of the very few chances that you could perhaps find out more about this lost age. When the gates open, and when we do defend Erzheimel in our last breath, seek out the Black Citadel.
The Black Citadel.
It is upon my domain. At least, on the dark half of it.
When the time comes, I will follow suit.
Thank you. As you see, as she bows deeply before, you see as she is enveloped by the light and returns back into the skies, leaving you within your amphitheater as a small queue of many of your Devas and Solars awaiting for orders.
Oof. Sorry, I need a second. Okay.
And as time passes, this history, 25 years would cross. As an individual, a soul, as it finally comes to you, a individual as their soul becomes malleable within the amphitheater, descending to wait for their place, their form. As they approach, you see a tall man in this wondrous red jacket, and their swept, almost tomato-colored hair, their eyes this faint green to it. And as they look towards you, I've died.
You've been reborn. Welcome.
You are a god.
Indeed. It is a pleasure to meet you, new soul. May I ask your name?
See, as he goes and touches his chest where he feels like something had run it through. I am Virgil Ishgari. I was the head of the Ishgari house in the Cliffs of Thalia.
Is that familiar to Aria?
You would be familiar with it. One of the 5 houses of the Cliffs of Thalia is well known for having been built in the southeast end of Wallenstein. It was kind of this first line of defense if Tiamat had ever flown to the north to try and assault the mainland. You are aware of one of the main individual parties of this group of 4 individuals who were blessed by Sahanin following, the event known as the Rain of Blood that was involved with Braun. These 4 individuals had attempted to rebuild Wallenstein after its fall. And one of the Ishgaris, went to South End along with 4 other families and built there a stronghold, a city that could potentially assuage a dragon. It was fortunately never used that way. However, in the past 125 years or so, after the Lumerian Wars, much of their resources and ordinances have been used to fend off against many of the Lumerian onslaughts under the rule of Roya at the time. There was an agreement. There was an agreement with Kilixmeyer, the capital of Wallenstein, Greater Wallenstein, that should any ordinances or resources be used in order to defend the south end of Wallenstein, they would be reimbursed for that. However, negotiations have been breaking down, and the recent request for reimbursement has been consistently denied, and it has affected the city in a negative way because of that, and has created this tension between Greater Wallenstein and Thalia.
So, am I to understand that the Ishgari then are kind of people on the front line, but resources haven't been the same recently?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I look at the man a bit pensively. Ishgari. May I ask, child, what happened?
My home was assaulted. Beings known as Arknights. Greater Wallenstein sent them. Set my home ablaze. I trusted a friend, Alois, to hide my sons. And I drew the attention of one of them to protect. And in my defeat, I was...
See, as he kind of just rubs the wound.
You're a brave man. Honorable, indeed.
My sons, Samael and Dante. Will they be fine? Will they be okay?
Fear not, child. I cannot always promise. But I am confident your children will be fine. For they are not here. They're on the mortal plane. And I am so sorry. The defenses were to be stronger, were they not?
They have been greatly diminished. I attended a peace summit on the Adamantine Bastion. One of the High Lords of Wallenstein had provoked me, and I lashed out. I have caused a war for my children to come.
As he looks towards you,
I know my soul will come to peace here, but the man that protects my son, Alois, if you can find him, if somebody can find him, just so that I know.
I understand. I will do what I can so that you may rest easily, knowing your family is safe.
Thank you. Thank you.
As you see as he begins to approach, raising your hand and giving him form, a being to be a part of this amphitheater and aviary, to rest in your domain. He floats and comes to rest here. This interaction lasts and bears on you for quite some time. As many more years come to pass, one day you are awakened. The sound of a thunderous crack as it breaks through all realms. As you are awakened and brought to your feet, you look up to the sky and see the sight of what looks like to be shooting stars as they streak across it, as well as another image that hangs not too far from the moon. A second moon, yet differently designed, almost like a massive eye that stares down at the star and its realms. The arrival of the dreadnought. You can see as many of your solars and devas are trying to approach you on information. And you also see, just barely, with what sight can be, are the four gods that had promised to defend the star in its last efforts. As you watch from this dreadnought, this massive moon, as it impales them with these massive, scale-like missiles. The sight of a god being killed is no small thing. As you can tell, and as you are aware what happens when they do, all that is ever connected to their blessings, all beings that pray to them, and all beings that are attached to their very conduit are enraptured. As they fall and disperse, their divine energies returning to Erdsleyheimel to act as final efforts to be protected. You feel another crack as it breaks through into your domain. A white-cloaked figure descending upon your amphitheater. You notice as many of the souls that you have garnered over these past 150 years fleeing away from this creature as he begins to approach you standing there.
I stand my ground and allow the figure to approach.
And as they do, you can feel energy divine and demonic as it bellows out from a creature like this. Only once have you ever met somebody like that. Your nephew, Asmoth. But this is on a much greater scale. And as he finally makes his way atop the amphitheater, see as the head raises a pair of slitted red eyes glowing like stars. A perfect smile and long golden hair merely drapes out from under the hood. You must be the Songstress.
Do I recognize this figure?
Upon close inspection, just give me a second here. We'll check one of your skills in particular. You do. What insight can tell you, and what perception can tell you. This is a reconstituted form of Roya Vicentinio Lumeria.
Roya.
In the flesh. Again.
What? What do you think you're doing?
I am here to fulfill my birthright. But of course, there are other tasks at hand that need to be fulfilled. And you are one of the very few things standing in my way.
Apologies for the inconvenience. But what are you trying to accomplish?
As you see as the cloaked figure points out towards the moons, I am here to eliminate that, and you are going to help me.
You think that you can stop the dreadnought?
It was what I was made for.
This thing, it's killed gods.
It's killed old gods. See, as he approaches you, almost in this superior manner,
You and I are very new. It's like an infection, really. It cannot stop us. However, I know that you are too good. And therefore, I need you out of the way for the time being. And also, I need somebody to keep an eye on my brother.
You're not in a position to be giving me orders.
Am I now? Shall we see about that? See, as the hand begins to raise, the thought of Amseer returns to you. An individual will approach. His presence is known.
I'm thinking real fucking hard about this. Okay. The way that I am understanding this, it, sounds like Aria and Roya have a similar goal of stopping the Dreadnought.
You do.
Yeah.
It's just... He has different plans in mind, though.
Okay. I was going to say, I was thinking of maybe doing, like... I wish I had fucking sense motive. Doing, like, an insight check or something. But,
I can tell you what your passive insight tells you.
Okay, what's my passive insight tell me?
You can tell there is a great deal of malice behind this individual. His first effort to trying and cleansing the world. This time there's a bit more less flailing. There's a specific cut to this. So,
Okay.
shall we do this the easy way? The hard way?
Child, what do you intend to happen, even if you did stop the Dreadnought?
I will get what I have always wanted.
Aaron, that was a terrible time for the audio to completely cut
Yeah.
out. One more time.
I will get exactly what I've always wanted. But that is not for you to know. So, my victory will come with or without you, whether you comply or not.
I'm sorry, I cannot allow this.
Okay. And as you say that,
Excuse me while I grab.
Uh-oh. I'm in danger.
Yep. Don't worry, I have your character sheet right here. Let's see here. And I am also applying that +5 bonus for the Divine Protection. Well then. Can you make me a strength saving throw at disadvantage? Alrighty. As you go to raise your blade out of what seems like various portals and dimensions, as large chains go to wrap around your arms and legs and across your body before it pulls taut and hangs you there. And as many of your Solars and Devas come to approach, you see, just with a stare at all of them, they suddenly feel immense danger. As you hang there, you see as he begins to approach and looks at you, I just need you out of the way for a small amount of time. And then when I need you again, I'll give this back. As you see as the hand raises up towards your head, and you see what seems like these deep etchings along it. That familiar of the Dreadnought. As it grasps you and you feel a power being siphoned out of you. Feel as power begins to become removed. Your defenses, your constitution, your blessings, your control over your domain, siphoned away. And as he begins to pull back, your immortality along with it. And in his hands, with what looks like to be this golden glowing orb with a single canary floating in the center of it. If it can work on you, reclaiming Lumeria will be of an easier task.
Roya, what have you done?
I removed a problem for the time being. As he holds it out in front of you and then boom, 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 lands on your amphitheater heavy. As you see as the hand goes and approaches you and just merely grabs you by the throat. Now, we have a meeting to attend. Have you ever gone to trial?
Trial?
Yes. Of one of my beloved Umbrians. And suddenly you feel as both of your forms are whisked away from your domain. As once what was shackling you here now lays within your amphitheater.
Aaron, that audio cut out again.
Oh.
I last I heard was once what was shackling you.
And once what was shackling you now lays within your amphitheater. Your divine power. As you are now mortal again. And in another moment, you feel the extreme cold and the thin air as you both arrive within this place known as the Adamantine Bastion, formerly known as Lumeria. Your body weakened and brought to its knees, you are dragged across the cobblestone, ascending the steps, before approaching a throne room full of individuals, many unfamiliar, two actually very familiar. And that is where we're going to go ahead and end your session.
Oh.